they just to keep making it harder and harder and harder. Back when we started the company was when Common Core was being implemented, was the year before. And every district person I talked to would say, we're rigor. We want it to be more rigorous. Rigor, rigor, rigor. That's all I heard was rigor. Well, they increased the rigor and scores went down. And instead of undoing some of the rigor, they just changed how the scoring is done.
Yeah.
So they can say that we're doing it rigorously. But then when scores went down, they said, well, we just won't grade it that way. A good example is that in a lot of elementary schools, they do a process of grading where they grade now instead of one grade for math, you might get 20 grades. So they're doing each standard grade.
Right.
And then I can pinpoint a county, for an example, where you had to get at least 65% of the standards correct to pass math.
Right.
Well, then an unusually high amount of kids started failing math. So what did they do? They said, okay, 40% of the standards right, and you can pass math. But that's not, that goes back to what we were talking about with Chicago. You're now letting them pass and they don't know it. They don't know the
Yeah.
material.
Right.
Maybe we should not be teaching it so young. Maybe we should loosen it up a little bit and make it easier enough for them to understand. It's very
Yes.
think about teaching a kid dividing fractions, and they've never even handled money hardly at that age. They've
Right.
never handled anything of real consequence. They play video games, they play whatever. What do they know about a fraction and dividing
Right.
it and stuff? Um, that's where the thing in California I was telling you about, where they won't give below a D. You cannot fail. Even if you answer no questions on a test, you still get a D. That's where that comes from, is because they made the rigor so hard that when the kids started failing, they said, well, we got to have more kids passing. Okay, we'll just fix the grading. That's what the problem is. And so they made it harder and made it easier to get a bad grade and still pass. And that's when I think I can't remember if it was you earlier or if we were around here, but there's a lot of common sense things that go on that I just don't understand. That I think if I had been running the education, I would have said, why don't we go back to making dividing fractions maybe seventh grade?
Yeah. But
Maybe we should make it a bit easier for that age group.